Well, you may remember this little spot from yesterday. This is exactly where we waited for our shuttle, and we did go back to the hostel, and it was good. Nice relaxing evening. Had some eggs, some ham, some fruit, yogurt for dinner. It was good. Well, we're back here again this morning. Same shuttle, same driver, and so on. Brought us back. It's around 8 o'clock. It's still rainy, but it is supposed to clear. Well, I've heard that story before. But anyhow, we're back in exactly the same place. We are starting from the Elk wayside, right behind me. Great locations are these waysides. They have washrooms, store, grills, all kinds of things. I got my coffee and a muffin there yesterday. We are heading north. We're heading to, I believe, it's the last shelter in the Shenandoahs. And I think it's Tom something or other shelter. It's 16.4 miles from where I am right now. So that's going to be my hiking day, 16.4. And let me see, it's going to be the last day in the Shenandoahs today, and today is day 6 in the Shenandoahs. It's Sunday, and as we'd arranged several days ago, in the morning we have a shuttle picking us up, taking us to the hostel in Front Royal. Now keep in mind, granted, we've just left a hostel and we've just left a slack packing situation and so on. We're in exactly the same position that we were supposed to be regardless. The only difference is the weather kind of forced us to seek shelter in a hostel. But doing the slack packing and so on, and the miles I did arriving to the hostel, we're in exactly the same place that we would have been this morning anyhow. So except for spending money, it didn't take away from any of our timeline as far as distances hiked on any particular given day. And where we shall be tonight at the Tom shelter is exactly where we're supposed to be tonight, tomorrow. And we don't have to get up bright and early because tomorrow it's only, I think, a 3.5 mile hike to the trailhead, Highway 522. And the shuttle picks up there at 8:45. So, heck, I can leave the shuttle at, I can leave the hostel, the shelter or my tent area. I can leave there at like 7 o'clock or whatever. Probably 6:30, but 7 o'clock and no problems. So I won't be waking up at 4 in the morning. And then tomorrow we have a long Nero, which is a laundry day, full laundry day, and so on. Resupply the whole bit for our push to Harper's Ferry. One little thing, we have booked our accommodations in Harper's Ferry, but I messed that up too. I booked that for next Saturday, but I believe I'll be arriving on Friday. So it's Friday night I need the hostel, not Saturday night. Unless, of course, in Harper's Ferry, being the theoretical halfway point, unless I take a 0 there, which is very possible. Whew! Hey, welcome to day 73, by the way. May the 8th. Happy Mother's Day, moms. And happy Mother's Day to my mom. Happy Mother's Day to both my daughters. They're both moms. Happy Mother's Day to Joanne, my girlfriend. She's a mom. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms. I've come to realize over the years, the hardest job in the world, some people say, oh, it's been an airline pilot or a doctor or whatever. It isn't. The hardest job in the world is being a mom or a dad. So when I say the hardest, I don't mean the hardest because nobody wants to do it. Everybody wants to do it. It's the hardest because it's just hard to get it right. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Hey, let's get to hiking. So today is Mother's Day here in Virginia, and just take a look at all the ice on the trees from the freezing rain, the wind, ice cold wind. You can tell which side the wind is coming from. Look at that. Yeah, the trail this morning, well, for day 73, it's definitely a cold trail. It's definitely a damp, wet trail. Precipitation has been in the form of drizzle type freezing rain and ice. Temperatures obviously hovering around the freezing point. The wind, well, at times it's blowing pretty good. So you've got quite a serious wind chill factor of probably the low 20s. All in all, it's kind of a handful kind of day. I am wearing my waterproof gloves. The problem is they're so damn cold. My right hand is in agony with the cold, my fingers. And I would put my wool gloves back on, but I'm afraid once they get wet, and I'm in more trouble because then I have nothing at all to put on. So, I don't know. And even though these waterproof gloves, rubber gloves are lined, just that rubber, it just conducts the cold so rapidly. Oh well. I just checked the charts, and I got about 13.8 miles to where I'm going to set camp today. So we're about 3 miles in for the day so far. So we're doing okay. We've made a start. That's the main thing. Let's keep going. Right now, I am taking a break. I'm having coffee and some hot oatmeal at the first shelter of the day. This shelter is going to leave me with, I think, oh, excuse me, nose running, cold. I think it's 10.7 miles to where I'm going to be, or that general area where I'm going to be camping. But I thought a hot coffee and some hot oatmeal would hit the trick. I'm about, I don't know, I'm going to say around 6.5 miles in for the day so far. So far we're doing okay. Seems to be brightening up now. I'm delighted about that. So, after my nice coffee break and oatmeal, that was really good, nice warmed me up at the shelter. I'm now carrying on. I'm heading northbound. I have 10.7 miles to the next shelter, and that's a small shelter with rocky area around, but I'm told just 0.2 miles past that is better tenting area. So that's probably where I'm heading to, and there's water there. So I've got about 10.2 miles left to go for the day. No, sorry, 10.7, not 10.2, 10.7 miles to camp, which gives me the 16.5 miles. Little updates. I just called Harper's Ferry Outfitters, and my shoes are indeed there waiting for me. I told them I'd be there Friday or Saturday. And I also called the Cross Trails Hostel because I'd booked yesterday for Saturday, but I realized I would be there Friday. And so I kept the Saturday night and added the Friday night, so I will be taking a 0 in Harper's Ferry. Whew. Trail behind me, a little bit of a climb. Yeah. A little bit of a climb, but nothing too exciting. It certainly is different hiking with full pack rather than slack packing like yesterday. That's for sure. Anyhow, the weather seems to be slightly improving insofar as there is no precipitation right now, and definitely none of that frozen precipitation that we saw earlier today. So that's a good thing. I put my wool gloves on with my black liners on. These are much warmer than my rubber ones, but the rubber ones are so cold. So because we don't have precipitation, I can put these on, and they are warmer for sure. Okay, everything's good. We had coffee, we had oatmeal, and we are northbound. What we're looking at is the first view we've had in over 3 days. The first time in 3 days that we have been out of the clouds, the fog, the rain, the freezing rain, the sleet, the snow. Whew. And we are pushing to the summit of Mount Marshall in the northern Shenandoah mountain range. Yeah, nice to see the clouds lifting. Okay, we still got some climbing to do here, so let's get it done. The weather has improved greatly. We now have good visibility, much better visibility than we had. Clouds have lifted, still gray, but lifted and much brighter. So that is a bonus for sure. We have about 6.2 miles to the next shelter, and we're going to look from there for where we're going to camp tonight. And again, that puts us in great situation for a entry to Front Royal tomorrow morning, and a nice Nero in Front Royal. And we're going to be at, I think it's called Stumbling Inn Hostel. Tonight, probably a tent area. We'll see. I'm going to stop by the shelter. As I mentioned earlier, it says it's pretty rocky around the actual shelter area, but a little bit further down the trail there's supposed to be some decent tenting. So we'll stop in at the shelter and we'll take a look at that. We'll go from there. The trail now, take a look, see? Look how bright it is now. We're kind of walking along the side of a ridge, if you will, and you can see over the other side. It could be Mount Marshall that we went across a while back. So definite improvement, exactly like the weatherman said it would have today. In this next several days, I think all the way to Harper's Ferry is going to be nice. My kind of arrival in Harper's Ferry looks like it's going to be on Friday. So a day earlier than I kind of originally anticipated, but that's not because we're going faster and I have to check on these things, but well, I have checked several times. It's just because the mileage is less. Instead of it being, I thought it was about 66 miles from Front Royal to Harper's Ferry, but it isn't. It's 56 or 52, something like that. Anyhow, it made it so I'm going to arrive on Friday, not Saturday. And of course, we're taking a 0 in Harper's Ferry. We've already got the accommodation for that at the Cross Trails hostel. We've already got that booked. And that hostel is $30 a night for a bunk. So that's not too bad. Cheaper than they've been for a while. For a while they've been in that 35. This one's 30. Okay. The last one we stayed at Open Arms in Luray. The lady that runs that, Alison, what an absolutely charming, sweetheart lady. Beautiful, beautiful lady, no doubt about it. And so glad she was there and running her hostel and shuttling us around, myself and all the other hikers. Very much appreciated. Highly recommend it. Little point, the best bunk in the whole house. When you walk through the front door, you're going to be greeted right by the steps. Go straight up the steps. The first door at the top of the steps on the right, open it, and immediately pick the bunk on the right. It's in a little alcove. It's all single beds, by the way, or twin beds, whatever you call that. It's not like bunk beds. But that little alcove has its own window, its own light, its own table lamp, and it's just perfect. I was there and it was just gorgeous. And when I mentioned that to her today, coming back to my drop-off point in the shuttle, she said that is the most sought after bed in the whole hostel. You just happen to walk into the right place at the right time. So there's a little tip. Okay, yeah, say 6 miles to go till we reach the next shelter. We'll be taking a little break soon. It's about 1:45 right now. We'll take a little break in a bit, sit for a few minutes. Whew, okay, let's get going. A little bit of information regarding my footwear. So I'm using Ultra Lone Peaks, and since I started this particular hike, and I am pushing towards the halfway mark in another week or so, I've been using Lone Peak 5.0, and I'm on my second pair. And I didn't have to replace the first pair when I did, but there was some available to me at an outfitter, so I got them. Now, having said that, as I push closer and closer, but not that far away now from Pennsylvania, also called Rocksylvania, I was thinking something with a little more soul. And we talked about the Lone Peak Olympus. So I called the outfitters in Harper's Ferry, and they said, yeah, we have that in stock. And they said, I'll put you one behind the counter with your name on it. And I said, okay, thank you. But that's going to cost me, that's $170 US plus tax and so on and so on. There's another shoe that I use sometimes. I hike the Bruce Trail. I through hike the Bruce Trail 600 miles in these particular shoes, and they're called ASIC Gel Venture 7s. And I use their size 14 extra wide. Gives me lots of toe box display for my toes. They're not zero drop. They have a better sole. When I say they have a better sole, they have more sole. So I was just thinking about that, and I went on Amazon.com, and sure enough, didn't they have size 14 in extra wide? So I said, you know what, instead of paying 170 plus tax, 200 whatever US dollars, I'm gonna order a pair of these, have them sent to the Harper's Ferry hostel. And they came in at like 64 bucks. A lot cheaper. So I elected to do that. So I'm not canceling my Olympus yet. They already had them in stock, so they'll just put them back in stock. It's not a big deal. And this happens like all the time. But I mean, it's a lot of money difference between 64 and 200. And I do know the shoe. I know the ASIC Gel Venture 7. I know I've hiked through hike with them, 600 mile through hike of the Bruce Trail with them. If I got 600 miles out here with them, it'd be great. Just for a point of interest, there's a few other big names use those, such as right now that's out here a couple of weeks north of me is Jay Wanders. He may follow Jay, I don't know. He uses the same shoe, ASIC Gel Venture 7s. Anyhow, just thought I'd mention that. So I went ahead and ordered those, and I got expedited delivery. They'll be there on Wednesday. I won't get that till Friday, but I'll try. I'll be able to wear them for my 0 days, so Friday and Saturday, and just make sure they're going to be okay. I've used 0 drop now for a lot of through hikes, so I just want to make sure I'm okay with the Gel Venture 7s on my feet again. And only time will tell. I won't really know after a couple of days, but as I say, I know the shoes are very comfortable. That's why they call them Gel Venture 7s, or Gel Venture. Refers to the gel sole and cushioning and so on. Very comfortable. The trail. Well, we've got about 1.8 miles till we get to that John something or other shelter. Well, I guess it's called a hut because we're still in Shenandoah Park, but I think we're going to leave there in about 1.5 miles. In fact, I took the ticket off my pack. You have to, when you come into the park, the Shenandoah Mountain Parks, you have to get a permit, which I have, and you put part of it in a box, just like in the Smokies, and then you put the other part in the box when you vacate, when you exit the park. I'm about to exit the park in about 1.5 miles or something. So I took it off my pack, because you're supposed to have it on your pack, and then, as I say, put it in the box when you exit. So at my last break, I took it off my pack, put it in my pocket. So when I get to the box and exit, I don't have to take my pack off again. I put my hand in my pocket, get my permit, and put it in the box. Yeah, it's about 4:15. It's been a decent day. I mean, weather has improved a lot now. Just take a look around. Oh, sure, it's gray sky, but it's not raining. Things have been drying up quite nicely. I mean, beautiful forest, and the terrain is just gorgeous. Just look at this trail. It's pretty much flat, little ups and downs, and great underfoot. Not like rock fields or mud pies, you know, mountain climbing or scrambling. Just great. So it's been an okay day like that. And as you know, when we leave hostels and so on, we start a little later because, you know, we're waiting for the shuttle. Like the shuttle that picks me up tomorrow, 8:45, Willie drops off at 8:30 at the same place. And then we say 8:45 pickup because when the hikers that are leaving get out, the hikers that are there get in, and he waits till 8:45 and departs back to the hostel. So that'll be Monday. So Tuesday morning I will be on trail at about 8:30ish, 8:45. Again, later than normal when I wild camp and set my wake up for 4. I'm on trail by 5, but that's okay. From there we're going to push north to Harper's Ferry, as I've said. Okay, let's keep going. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I kind of in my mind toyed with the idea of, you know what, if the shelter's not that busy, but it's a small shelter, I think it accommodates 6, but if it's not really busy in the space, I might just take the shelter tonight. I'm tired. Even though I was at a nice hostel for the last 2 nights, I didn't sleep very well, and I'm tired. And then yesterday, slack pack, and that wind and rain, that 18 miles and cold, beat the hell out of me. Just beat the hell out of me. And I'm sniffling, my chest is heavy. I'm tired. That's one of the reasons I'd booked to take a 0 at Harper's Ferry. And as I say, I'll be there by Friday. Today being Sunday. I'll be there by Friday. So I'll have Friday night and Saturday night then, leave Sunday morning. So Friday I'll have a Nero, because I'll get there, should get there around noonish. And then Saturday I'll have a 0. I won't be hiking at all, just walking around town or whatever, going to get resupplies, but not out on trail hiking. All right. That's pretty much brought everything up to date that I can think of. Yeah. I gave you a good look at the trail, as you can see. Damned easy right now. People will say, by the way, and I'm sure some of them watching this are planning your through hikes of the Appalachian. And sometimes people say, well, Virginia is flat, and some will say, no, it's got mountains. But the thing about Virginia is that it helps you a lot. The actual terrain underfoot. It's not rugged. Well, not as rugged. Don't get me wrong now. There's rocks here. There's rocks everywhere. It's going to happen. But some areas there's more rocks than other areas, such as Rocksylvania, for instance. But here in Virginia, the climbs, we've had a few big ones. But generally speaking, they've been easier going climbs for sure. So is Virginia flat? No, it's got some big climbs, but it's definitely flatter. And why is it then that you can maybe make more miles through Virginia? Well, I'm going to put that down to two things. The fact that, yes, just like you're looking at right now, which you just don't see very much of this in like Georgia and North Carolina or Tennessee, there is flat and very nice underfoot areas. And they go on for a long time at times. This allows you to lay down miles, definitely underfoot. The actual underfoot terrain is much easier in Virginia. So that's why I think you can lay down better miles. And we've done fine through Virginia, but we're going to be leaving Virginia this coming week, entering West Virginia, and I think Maryland. In fact, I believe the shelter I'm staying, the hostel I'm staying at in Harper's Ferry, even though Harper's Ferry itself is in West Virginia, my hostel is about 2 miles out of town, and I believe it's Knoxville, Maryland. I think that's where it is. At least I hope so, because that's where my shoes are going. Hope. Tom Floyd Shelter. 16.5 miles, and get this, there's not a soul here. Wow. It's got a nice roof, metal roof. It's got a deck, seating, picnic table, fire pit. Wow, I'm totally surprised there's nobody here. And you know what? Because of that, because of that, I think I am going to set up in the shelter. First of all, let me see if there's any water here. That's a big one. I think there is. So let me get water first, and then we'll go from there. The end of day 73. 16.5 miles. I have 3 miles tomorrow morning into Front Royal. Here is my bunk for the night. I am staying in the shelter. It's not something I do often, but take a look at this. There's no one else here. I've never ever seen that before. Oh, well, I have, but just not on this trail. On the Bruce Trail, I've seen it, where we have a shelter, and I've been the only person in that shelter or camping at that shelter. But here on the Appalachian, it's usually been quite busy. And as of yet, it must be 6:30 anyhow. There's time for other people to come. But I've got the best spot if anybody does come, because that is where I am going to be. Right here. This is my dinner spot. It was my dinner spot. I had my dinner. I've just got to finish up some hot chocolate, which I need to re-warm. Yeah. So day 74 is going to be a Nero, a 3-mile hike into town. Shower, laundry, maybe a couple of minor things for resupply, but not much if I do. That's it. And relax. I've still got quite a bit of food left. I might get a few things. We'll see. But that's it. I'm pretty much going to relax tomorrow. I'm tired. I feel tired. I'd like a nice meal somewhere and a relaxing day, maybe. That's pretty much it. Anyhow, I'm going to warm up my hot chocolate. We'll talk to you guys in the morning. Good night.